Good morning, Monday here, hopping on with another word. This one is going to be a little difficult. I think it's something that happens often, but people don't really talk about it, and people kind of just deal with it in silence, and that is miscarrying. I was woken up at like 1:30 this morning and couldn't go to sleep because I felt so strongly that I needed to talk about this and get it out there, to help heal hearts of people who are going through it right now. So for this message, I'm going to share, I miscarried twice. I'm going to talk about both of them, and then after I will kind of compare and then talk about that. So first, I think I need to talk about the details a little bit, and then I can go on and share how I dealt with it. So there were 2 miscarriages at 13 and 12 weeks. The first one, I was actually pregnant when my husband proposed when we were at Hearst Castle. So if you saw my last video, I was actually pregnant then, and he proposed while we were there on vacation. And so after he proposed and all that, I think it was like 2 weeks later, we had our checkup. I think I was like 13 weeks. I thought maybe we'll find out if it's a boy or a girl, because with my first one, we found out really, really early with her that she was a girl. So I was all excited. And this was the only appointment that my husband ever went to me with. And they were doing the ultrasound, and they go, there's no heartbeat. And they said the baby does not look as big as it should, so it means that the heartbeat stopped a while ago. And so I was only measuring 9 weeks, but I was 13 weeks pregnant. I was already showing, I had a little belly and everything. And so that was really, really hard to hear, because you go in expecting to find out some good news, and it's the total opposite. And I think because I already had a baby, I had a deeper hurt. And I don't want to make it downplay anybody else's, because that's not it at all, but I had a baby, so I felt like I knew what I was going to miss out on. And it was the only time that my husband has ever really talked about God with us in our life, and he said, it's okay, we'll see our baby up in heaven. And so going through that was really, really hard. I don't think I started miscarrying until probably maybe 3 days after, and that whole process was super hard because the contractions were for about 3 days, so my whole body went into like labor mode. So I had contractions for a couple days, and then finally it started happening. And once it happened, though, I had this very overwhelming sense of peace. It's really hard to explain. I miscarried at home. I told the doctor I didn't want to have a D&C or anything like that. I wanted to be at home in my own comfortable place. I didn't want to be in a hospital, so I miscarried at home, and it's kind of hard. It's like I'm reliving it all over again. I'm trying to make sure I get all the details. I don't want to miss anything for anybody else who's going through it. I want you guys to be able to connect and find some hope and encouragement through this too. So trying to think of where to keep going. So when I miscarried, I lost a lot of blood. My oldest one's dad ended up coming over. He's an EMT paramedic, and I thank the Lord that he was here because I didn't know what to do and my husband didn't know what to do, and my ex jumped in and he knew exactly what to do and he helped out. And I think it's kind of taboo to a lot of people, which there will be a whole other message about that too, but I just thank the Lord that he was here and that he was able to assist us and help us, because it was a lot. It was a lot. So anyways, after that miscarriage happened, I was super broken. It's like you lost a big piece of yourself, and I think I was in mourning for a long time, and I just talked to God a lot about it, you know, and he knows your heart. He knew my heart, and I think he knew I needed reassurance that everything was going to work out for his glory and my good. And so one day I got out of the shower. This must have been, I don't even know how long after the miscarriage. And I was drying off and I looked in the mirror and it had like condensation on it from taking a hot shower. And there was an angel in the mirror. The angel's still there till this day. I will not clean that part of my mirror. And this was a couple years ago. It's still there. So that is a way that God confirmed with me, you know, I'm with you, and going through this tribulation and going through this hard time, I'm always going to be there. And so that was really comforting, and that helped me a lot. And then my second miscarriage happened after me and my husband got married. And that one too was kind of the same situation. But I found out much sooner. So this one, I think I found out at 7 weeks, but I didn't miscarry till 12 weeks, which is, I've never heard of that, you guys. Never have I heard of, it's called a missed miscarriage. I'd never heard of that, which there's a message in that of itself. And so when I found out again that I was miscarrying, I got angry. And I asked God, why? You know, I don't understand. I don't get it. I said, usually, I was like, the chances of having a miscarriage is, you know, I'm sure more people deal with it than we know of, you know, than we acknowledge. But having 2 miscarriages back to back like that, I'm like, God, what are you trying to tell me? You know, in this, anytime I go through anything hard in life, I always ask God, what is the message? What are you trying to show me? What are you trying to teach me? And I didn't understand. And I was so mad. And during this time, I had a candle business, and I ended up quitting my candle business, which was a big deal because that was like my sacred time. You know, making candles is where I would go to spend time with God and to worship him and to just sit in his presence, and I would thank him for everything that I have. And that was just a very special time where I would go and be with him. And I quit making candles, and I didn't even realize it till looking back now. It was kind of like I almost did it spitefully, you know, and it's like I cut it off. Like I didn't want to feel anything. Even with my first miscarriage, when I was picking out my wedding dress, it was like I didn't have that beautiful, this is it moment. It was kind of like I had no emotion. I had to cut it off, because if not, I would just be completely taken over by the sadness that I was going through. And only God knew it, like, and now whoever's going to listen to this, but it's very hard. And I'm the type of person where I don't go to other people and talk to them I sit and I talk to God. And that's how I've always been, is I always take my problems, my hurts, everything. I always take it to God, and I sit there and I talk to him, and I just open my heart to him, because nobody else can fill that void. Nobody else can give you that peace or that reassurance. And so when it happened the second time, that's when I got really, really angry. But this time when I miscarried, it was a lot different. And I think it's because I was angry. And this time I was very scared. And for no reason. Like, I wasn't scared of miscarrying. I wasn't scared of it not happening in a way where I was going to be okay, you know, like any medical, where I would need medical attention or anything like that. It was more spiritual. Like, I felt like I was spiritually under attack with this miscarriage. And it was just, looking back now, comparing them, I can see what God was telling me and how it can bring encouragement and hope to you guys who are going through it. And it's so humbling that he's using me to tell you guys this. Looking back at my 2 miscarriages, that first one I felt at complete peace, knowing God was in control and that everything was going to be okay. And that even though I was losing something, it was happening for a reason, and I trusted God and I had complete faith in him. And that second one, I lost faith in him, and it was much harder. Even though I was further along with the first one, and physically it was way more painful, it was easier for me. And it says that in the Bible, you know, nobody is going to be saved from the tribulation of, or go through life with no tribulation and have an easy life. Nobody is. But when you're with God and you're walking it out with him, he's there, and he's your comfort, and he's your peace. And that's what I got from these miscarriages. And if I could tell anybody anything from this, from what I learned, if you're going through this and you're experiencing it, the heartache is just, it could be so overcoming. You need to let it go, and you need to give it to God, and you need to sit with God, and you need to talk to him, because he's the only one who understands, and he's the only one who knows your heart, and he's the only one who can fill that void. And I will say that when my baby got here, Sydney, I got pregnant with her, I want to say like 3 or 4 months after my last miscarriage. Maybe, yeah, about 4 months. The fear didn't go away. It was still a daily thing I had to tell myself, you know, God's in control, and if I'm meant to keep this baby, I will. And thank the Lord that she's here. But even then it was a struggle, and I had to continue to remind myself, you know, God's in control. And so I hope that this message was helpful. I feel like there's so much more that I can say about it, but for sake of this video, it's almost 14 minutes long. I hope that this helped. Keep faith, even in the hard times, even when it's not easy. Choose to keep hope and faith, and always take your problems or any hurt, any sadness, take it to God and talk to him about it. People say, I don't know how you did it. You're so strong. But it's not me, you guys. It's God. I'm getting my strength from God and my peace from him. And he is my ultimate source. And so my recommendation is go to God, go seek him. And I think that there's going to be another part to this, because there is another message that I learned within it. Maybe I'll do like a second part type of thing, but for right now, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. And I hope I said this the way God wanted me to. I prayed about it, and I think that's where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope that you all have a very blessed day, and I will talk to you later. See you later.